Yes.
All right, guys, thank you all for joining. We're here today, like, just to have like a meeting also with the European Waves team, because we've done everything kind of online so far in our own communication. It's nice to kind of meet each other a little bit, because especially the second and the first years, like some of us have hardly met. Well, we've met the past few days now, and we thought it would be good to tell others who are interested like a little bit more about what we've been doing so far as European Waves, and like to hopefully inspire some more people to get involved. So basically, like, I think we've been working on European Waves since, well, properly working on it since the beginning of last year. So pretty much a calendar year now. And basically the idea was to create a platform where we could share some of our ideas, some of our experiences, like some related specifically to the program, some more general about topics that are related to the program within the scope of European politics and society. And yeah, for the not only the academic parts, but for people to be able to write a little bit more freely about the topics they're passionate about, or the experiences that they'd like to share. And so we began simply with the idea of creating some sort of website. And personally, I think like within 1 year, like it's grown way more than I would ever have expected it to. Thanks to, like, you know, several people, like everyone's really hard work, and also like the engagement like of the first years now as well. Like that's been really amazing. Like how after the summer, like they've really joined in a lot and created a podcast, and now yeah, we've got a lot of different stuff going on. So basically we're going to show you a little bit of everything, I think. So maybe like I'll briefly introduce a little bit the way we work. So essentially, like writing the articles and creating the content, we're kind of open for like anyone can contribute to that, right? Like anyone who's somehow related to the program, or even outside of that, I think we're open to. And then we have like a sort of core team within the European Waves, where some people edit articles. We have an editing team. We have a social media team. So we have a Twitter page, a Facebook page, an Instagram page, LinkedIn as well, I think. So to promote our work. We have a tech team basically who update the website, and we now also have a sort of imagery team, right? Yeah, like that's integrated with communications, and now we have the podcast as well, which is also in a sense a team, probably a bit more than a team, but so yeah, I think I will leave it at that, and then we can the others can start showing some of what we've done. Probably.
Okay, so give you an idea of
Guys, now we can hear nothing.
Is it better?
That's better.
Okay, let me start again.
Thanks.
So basically, I'm going to be introducing some of the articles we have been working on this last year, and some of the different kind of articles we write. But as Ruben already said, they're very free in what you want to write about, as long as it somewhat relates. And then Catherine is going to talk a little bit more about one of the articles she has been working on, and a couple of others as well. Just to give you a bit of more idea of maybe how the process works as well. So one of the articles I really enjoyed working on was a reflection on sort of the end of Angela Merkel, and it was done by the second years, and we're quite a lot of Germans in our year. So we decided this would be a nice moment to sort of reflect on how we as young Germans feel about the end of Angela Merkel. So we did a little different things. So someone reflected on her European policies, some of the gender policies, sondern wir schaffen das, to some of the key moments of Angela Merkel's chancellorship. So that was quite a personal article that we all really enjoyed writing, I think. And also I think it was very interesting for the others to see how Angela Merkel actually gets perceived in our own country, because usually you would just follow it maybe from your own country's perspective. We also have Beyond Europe, so that's for all of those whose interest might go a bit further than just European affairs. So we obviously have quite a lot of international people, and we also really want them, or like non-European people, and we also really want them to share some of the things that they're experiencing. So Sandra, for example, has been writing about Mexico as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, which was something I didn't really know that much about before, and how it was perceived in the country. We also have an explain section where we sort of look at what are key debates people in Europe right now, and try to explain that a little bit more to make it a bit more clear for us, but also for sort of my general audience. We have the EPS Spotlight, where we share sort of stories on EPS life. So things like the Brussels field trip, but also how it is to finish studying. And I think some of you have been working on the Forum 2000 conference. And so we also have a little article about that, but also things we really like to do, like books we like to read and we want to recommend to people. So even if you think, oh, I'm not such of a journalist person, there's still some things you can definitely contribute with. I think one of the most popular categories is opinion. People are very opinionated in this program, which is a great thing. So I think there's a lot of stuff on there. And then we also have a long reach, which is sort of a little bit on everything, but going into much more depth than maybe also newspaper articles usually can. So there's definitely something in there for everyone. And now Catherine is going to talk a little bit about the Pandora Papers article.
You should probably switch and sit here.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, so one of the articles that we wrote this semester was about the Pandora Papers, and I wrote it with Greta and Ruben. And this was an example of when there's any sort of major current event that happens that affects multiple countries. We thought it would be good to write kind of an explainer, an analysis of the event from our own countries. So Greta wrote about sort of the implications for the Pandora Papers in the UK. And then Ruben wrote about in the Czech Republic, as well as in the Netherlands. And I wrote about some of the implications in the US. And so again, it's nice to have some sort of outside of European perspectives. And so I think this is something that we'd love to have more people write about, kind of their experiences from their own countries, where they can bring in their knowledge. And with something like the Pandora Papers, when you see it in the news, you might see news focused more on your own country. So this was a nice opportunity to learn about what happened in some other places.
Very smooth operation. So, okay, now I guess I'll tell you guys a little bit about the podcast. This was an idea that I had based on experiences I'd had previously during my bachelor's. And I just want to say that I'm so thankful to be working with such a nice team who was so open to the idea and so happy to help me with it and to set it up and let me become part of this group. So yeah, we currently have several first years, some of whom are here today. Yeah, we record episodes on similar topics to the articles, but the idea behind the podcast, which I think is important, is that I guess it kind of has input legitimacy in the sense that we're learning how to use the technology that maybe one day if you're a politician and you get invited onto the radio, you'll know actually like what's going on and you'll be good, you'll sound confident on the radio. And the same, like if you wanted to work in journalism, you'd be confident working with the tech and you know what you're doing. So that's a big part of it. So we've been recording in Prague, which has worked out quite well. We managed to record 2 episodes there, plus an episode which I'm not sure if it will see the light of day, but we'll see about that. And then exciting news is that we also have a studio ready for us in Krakow when we go there. And if I know that some second years will be joining us. But if there are people in Barcelona or in Leiden who want to set up a podcast, like we're really happy to work with you and we can do it remotely, just let me know and I'll find a studio for you and we'll get started. But yeah, I think that's all about the podcast.
Yeah. Sorry.
So hello everyone, I'm going to talk about the collaborations we're doing with different masters and student blogs, as we think that it's really important and it's a different way to reach out to different members, different student communities, and also get closer to more EU bases. So what we have done is we have published one article yet, which Eyes of Europe. Yeah, get ready, start. So as you can see, we have this collaboration with Eyes on Europe. Eyes on Europe, it's a master's on European studies based in the Université Libre de Bruxelles. And they agreed to collaborate with us. And so far, we have published one article by Stoikov, and they told me that they really like it, and it was one of the best materials they have published. So I have to congratulate Stoikov. And they also appreciate that they give it a different approach, as they were mainly focused on EU stuff, and they feel that some countries are not or they don't talk that much about them. So they really appreciate that focus. And we're about to publish an article from them. We're waiting that they publish it in paper, which should be around today or maybe tomorrow. We're waiting for them to send the magazines to the different offices where they share it. And after that, we will publish their article, and we are ready to prepare another article to share with them, depending on what we agree today. So that's it. And I think we may try to find out or check if there's another student blog, or if you would like to take a look or discuss if you would like to maybe have another collaboration with another student blog. So, thank you.
I think that's most of what we had to tell you guys today. But should there be any questions from the audience, we're very open to that as well.
Guys, if there are any questions, we don't hear them.
No, Ruben was just saying also for the people joining in online, should there be anyone who is not part of European Waves yet, but is interested in joining, you can either join by joining one of the teams, but it's also very open to just write an article periodically or even once if that's what you want to do. We're happy with any contribution to what we're doing. And yeah, that's actually all of us, I think. Should there, yeah? No. All right, if there are no further questions, then that's all from us. And thank you very much for joining us today and having a look at what we've produced so far.
There is a question online.
Oh, there is? All right. Let me see.
Yeah, hi.
I see.
Everyone.
Nothing better. All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think I'm on the upper left corner of the screen.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for the presentation. I've written one article which I think is still somewhere in the editing flow. I have a question and also like a constructive suggestion. Based on my experience so far, And my question is regarding whether you have done some thinking about like sustainability of European waves. And I asked this question because like very often there are lots of great student initiatives like this one, but they often die down after, like, let's say the founding generation like moves on. And our program is a 2-year program, so like turnover rate is pretty high. So have you done some sort of thinking about like succession planning and institutionalization and so on? And then this brings me to my constructive suggestion, where for me as a first-year student and joining in and like remotely most of the time, like I found the flow and way of working of like the process of writing articles and also the like expectations of writers versus like editors. So for example, like I was expecting like edits to mostly be about structure, but it ended up like I getting a lot of content edits as well. So like that kind of thing, like lack of alignments and so on. And whether or not there's a way to make things a bit more streamlined by coming up with like a sort of standardized workflow, for example, of writing, and this will make it like easier for like new people joining in, because then they know, and also it makes it kind of like easier to sort of pass things on as well, because if you have like a standardized workflow and standardized process, then you're not dependent on like individuals. And I should say that I'm making this like as pure, like really as a sincere constructive suggestion, and also it's coming from like my background like in consulting, where like we have to do like coming up with workflows and stuff like this for like clients all the time. So.
All right. Thank you very much, Julian. Has the audience been able to grasp? Yeah. All right. Julian has made 2 points. One question about the sustainability of European waves and whether we'd be able to continue this after our year graduates, and point to a bit of feedback on our way of working and whether whether we are able to streamline the writing and editing process so it's easier for new writers to come on board. Regarding your first point, yeah, we've been very much trying to obviously make this a sustainable initiative and make sure it doesn't die down after this year. And that's why we're really enthusiastic about the amount of first years that has joined us for this and is just as enthusiastic as we are about this initiative. We are also supported by the consortium, and we're trying to make European Waves part of EPS, in a sense that we are still an independent platform, but are definitely affiliated with EPS. And that way, hopefully after we leave, there will be first years that take on the positions that we have now, and they will recruit new first years, and hopefully we can keep it going like that with a bit of support from the consortium as well. So that is as far as we've got with ensuring the continuity of European Waves. Towards your second point, yeah, valid point. So far we have a few guidelines on the Google Drive we work with in regards to editing, not necessarily in regards to writing, because we really want to give people the freedom in what they want to write and how they want to write it. And the editing process is really meant as a way for everyone to improve their article. So that can be very pragmatic things like spelling or structure things, but it can also be content-wise. If there are improvements to be made in terms of content, then that will be part of the editing process. But if there is if there are more people that would prefer to also have some sort of writing guidelines, then of course it's something we can come up with, especially in regards to the different segments we have on a website. Hopefully that answers your question / your feedback. Do you have something?
Could I add for the podcast?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. I just wanted to say also for the podcast, with regard to sustainability, like that's definitely something that I've had in my mind, and that's why like we've gone out of our way to find a studio in Krakow, which will actually host us for free. So it's definitely like we can continue doing this. and hopefully even more regularly. Also, I think like European Waves, these people have done such a good job at getting so many first years involved. And I think like that's only going to continue. Like I know that everyone that's involved in European Waves is really interested and really wants to make sure it continues. So you guys can be assured that we're also going to be doing a lot of like promotion of European Waves. And also for the podcast, we discussed within our group about coming up with like guidelines for editing in particular, but I think also like what you can say and like what topics we're going to discuss in the podcast. We'll also probably come up with guidelines for that. And everyone receives kind of informal training on how to edit. So we're all on the same page with regard to that.
Are there any other questions? No? All right. Well, then I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and hopefully you'll be seeing much more of us online. Should anyone be interested in joining or anything else, please do contact us. Thank you. Yep. All right, we're gonna close up this. Oh no, we still need to Zoom. Yeah, we will continue having a meeting to discuss new articles. So some of the people will stay in the Zoom to do so. For the other people, you're obviously welcome to stay, but I don't know if it's as interesting for you to be part of that. So. All right.
Thanks, guys. And I think we don't really have an official closure of the Barcelona Research Seminar. Unless Javier is there, we can't really see who's in the room and who isn't. So I'll take the liberty and declare the Barcelona Research Seminar finished.
Finished is a bit of a dangerous word to say, but it means that it's gone and will never be resurrected. So maybe another word.
No, that's not what I wanted to say. Coming back to our workshop on interview, no, that's definitely not what I wanted to say. I wanted to say that it's concluded for this year. Thanks a lot. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did as well. And I hope you have had the chance to learn something, to get useful comments, and to meet across the year. I know that at least those of you who sit in the room are definitely meeting across the years, and I hope we will have the chance to repeat that soon somewhere. So thanks a lot, and see you soon, guys.
Thank you.
And have fun in Barcelona.
All right. I don't think there's a lot. It's Julian or Sandra also left. Oh. Yeah. Yes.
This feels very ironic.
What, am I going to be left alone?
But guys, I think the problem is that if you say something, the people on the Zoom can't hear it. Like, don't really know how to do this well.
I think like the simple workaround would be for you to paraphrase and repeat if it's something that like, yeah, that all of us need to hear as well.
Right.
I would suggest that if anyone wants to say something, yes, well, I don't know how many people there are.
I think it's, yeah, it's Julian and Sandra, I think. Right, so the suggestion is, Sandra and Julian, like if you have like suggestions for articles or other points, that will start with you. So that's probably the easiest way to go about it. Malaysia, maybe it's a good idea if you give a little update, like first of all, of like the article situation at the moment. Yeah, well, you have the best overview, right?
Yeah.
This is clearly for example, I can see that the community by work a lot. Any kind of institution, not official, but that we are involved with. And of course, I mean, the learning process is important. And two more things. One is that as director of the Barcelona Research Studies, I would be happy to collaborate with you and any initiative or anything that would help you and the way around could be fine, okay? And also, if you need, I don't say how much or how what your material means. If you need anything, you can also for example, we can discuss in the for our clearly, this is I would say that it's important issue, not only for you, but the program.
Yeah. No, thank you very much.
So just think about that, and you have to decide to discuss it in some point, and maybe you're going to contact me with the question. So,
yeah, makes sense.
Okay. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, could I ask one of you maybe take notes in terms of? Perfect. All right. So in terms of articles, the schedule I made is no longer up to date, but that's all right because I think the last date of we actually scheduled for was the 6th of January or something. We have 2 more articles to go, which is Julian's article about the COP, which is ready to be published. So that I think that would be published today or yeah. Today or tomorrow that will be published, and then for next week we actually hopefully have the Eyes on Europe article because we had to wait for them to publish it themselves before we can publish it online because they do a printed version, which means that we have articles for the upcoming week, 2 weeks. So from then onwards, basically we need to get new articles. So we hope you guys have some ideas. And we thought maybe it's easiest to start off with you, you guys, Julian and Sandra, as the people in the audience here can't really hear you. So if you guys have any ideas, maybe Esther, you can come up here because otherwise you can't hear them talk. This is a grand scheme to not be part of the hierarchy. Very fair enough. All right, Julian, please let me know if you have any ideas.
Yeah, I was going to make the suggestion that perhaps those of you who were able to go in person to the seminar, if any of you.
Julian, could you speak up a bit?
Yeah, I was going to suggest that maybe a write-up of the Barcelona Research Seminar for those, at least those of you maybe who could actually have gone in person, that could potentially be interesting.
Yes. yeah, I think. Yeah. Yeah, Julian, would you be willing to to contribute like the online experience, and then we have some
Yeah,
people
okay, yeah.
Yeah, all right, amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have any other ideas regarding articles, something else?
Yeah, another suggestion would be probably something, well, that you could look ahead to maybe like the upcoming, like there are going to be a number of elections in Europe this year. Probably the biggest one is the one in France, but there are other countries in Europe as well holding elections this year. And so perhaps something like about that and why these elections matter. Like Hungary probably is also quite important, because like the opposition has now come together and put together like a joint candidate for prime minister. And so like Orban is facing his strongest challenge in many years. So yeah.
All right, Julian had the suggestion to, or he said basically there are a lot of elections taking place this year which are quite important, among which the one in France and the one in Hungary. We could potentially also make an article out of that with like reflections from people from the respective countries reflecting on what might happen. I think similar to the one Stoico wrote about Bulgaria. Yeah, sure. Yeah, if we make an overview of which elections are taking place and who would be willing to write about that, I'm sure we can ask Gerge to write about Hungary, perhaps. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I honestly think that could be an article in itself.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too.
Sounds good. Amazing. Yeah, and I think, yeah, if we make an overview of which elections, and
We also don't have to.
no, exactly, no, but like people that are willing to write about them, Greta can write about Sweden or France. Amazing. Julia, are there any elections you would particularly like to write about?
I have to look at the list again.
That's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, the upcoming ones.
We'll just write your name down, and you can let us know if there's a certain angle you would vote for. Yeah, Jesus.
That includes like all the municipal. Oh no, wait, that's worldwide.
Okay. Well, that's a lot, but we can definitely make something out of that. Thank you. Amazing. Anything else you would like to contribute? Maybe you as well, Sandra?
Yeah, so actually in 2 days is taking place the high-level global conference on youth peace and security. And since right now I'm very much into women peace and security and also youth peace and security, I would like to write on that. But the problem is that right now I feel that I don't have time to write. Between writing for the thesis, I have to deliver some stuff at the end of the month, and then the moving to Krakow, and then the internship. So then I feel I could write something, but maybe until the end of, no, until the beginning of March. Yeah, which would be like not writing like at least like, yeah, for the next month and a half. So maybe if you could like schedule me like until the end or something. But yeah, I would really like to write on the key points of this conference, and then how the EU member states will like will take into consideration that in the following months or something like that. But yeah, I mean at least February. I don't think I can do it.
All right, so from March onwards, basically, or later.
Sorry? Yeah,
so
from March onwards. Yeah, once I'm in Krakow. Yeah,
I'll take it into account. All right, Anything else from you guys? I think they're for the text. Yeah. All right. We wrote your suggestions down, and I think you're obviously welcome to stay, but as it's a bit difficult to communicate with both you guys and the audience, I think, or the audience, the people here, I think we can just stop the Zoom, and we obviously share the notes with you so you guys know what we've talked about in the rest of the meeting. Right?
Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining, guys.
Thank you very much, guys.
Bye. Good time, Barcelona.
Thank you. All right.